All right, folks, thanks for being here. This is going to be an abbreviated. I'm just kidding. Press conference may not be as long as it's always been. Open it up. One question each. Dave Biddle, 24/7 Sports.
Ryan, how is Wink Martindale's scheme different than what they've done the last 3 years, if at all?
Very similar. A little bit more pressure, but he's got his own flavor to it. But similar to what they've done in the past, same philosophy in terms of the structure of the coverages, but a little bit more aggressive in terms of pressure.
Far left, Joe Nugent, WCMH.
Do you find yourself managing emotions at this point of the week with knowing what is coming on Saturday?
I think this part of the week, you're putting the plan together and you really try to make sure you're focusing on the process right now, because you only can really control what you can control. And every time you can start getting focused on things that don't matter, you got to get right back into your work. And that was the message to the guys on Sunday. And so that's it. We're going to really focus on the process, the same process that we've been working on all year. Everything that we do in the offseason, every decision that's made in terms of the coaching staff, the roster, how we practice, schematics is all working towards this moment right here. So let's just go to work, trust the process, and focus on, what we're going to get done today.
Fourth row left, Tony Girdman, Buckeye Huddle.
Ryan, you got bringing guys in from the portal who have all played in rivalry games. They've experienced it. What do you tell them when in the recruiting process and then in January and February and April and things about this rivalry?
Yeah, well, in the recruiting process, you make sure that that's when they commit, that's the number one goal. Understand that, for everybody in a program, that is the number one goal when you come here is to win this game. And that needs to be embraced. And then you go on from there. And we live it every day of the year, in our workout, the way that we structure everything. And then, just the fact that, like, if you know, if you don't know, you don't know. So lean on the guys around you that have been in the game before, players, coaches, everybody else in the building.
Dan Hope, 11 Warriors.
Will Howard leading the FBS in completion percentage right now. Did you expect that he was going to play as well as he has, or has he exceeded your expectations?
I mean, our expectation is to win. That's it. I think when you start worrying about other things like completions or stats, you can start to go down a bad road. I've said this before. We've had Heisman Trophy finalists. We've had, number one defense in the country, whatever it might be. And, we're more focused on winning than anything else. You can see, if we had made a decision to play more snaps and go up tempo and do different things, and maybe his numbers would be different than they are right now. Maybe, Quinshawn and Travion would be different in terms of their stats, and same thing with the receivers. But decisions are made to reach our goals, and we expect to win, and that's it. But we're going to need him to play well. He's got to be a great decision maker. He's got to go get his first pair of gold pants.
Spencer Holbrook, Letterman Row.
Ryan, what did you like from Carson and Austin on Saturday? What do you see that makes you think that they're ready for this challenge?
You just go off what you see in practice, on the film. Two guys that, now are, getting more and more reps under their belt. Now, obviously, Carson has from last year, but now Austin as well. I think they both had a good week of practice last week, and I thought they had great energy out there. I thought they gave great effort. When they did miss, they swung and missed pretty hard, and it'll be that way this week. We got a big challenge with the two inside guys in the front that they have, but they'll be up for it. We'll have a good plan.
Joey Kaufman, Columbus Dispatch.
Ron, you've talked before about how situations and analytics have guided some of the fourth down decisions as you guys go for it more often this year. Looking back on last year's game against Michigan and some of the decisions in that game, the 4th and 1 where you punted kind of near midfield, wondering if that had any sort of effect in the way you kind of changed your approach, because you look back on that year now, it's like now I might think you guys might be liable to go for it in those spots.
Yeah, I think you take every situation as it comes and you try to make the best decision you can. Certainly the analytics will tell you what to do, but you also have to, figure out what can best win the game. And so we'll do the same thing in this game right here. We always want to be aggressive, but we also have to do what's smart. You have to take the emotion out of those decisions and do what's best for the team.
WBNS.
Coach, how much will you pay attention to the weather this week? They're saying 19 degrees early on and then in the low 30s. And how will that affect the game?
I just think that, when you get to this time of year, you're going to deal with weather. We've said that all along, and it'll be the same for both teams. But this time of year, you're expecting cold weather, you're expecting wind, rain, snow, all the above, and you got to have a plan for it. So we'll be ready to go. It'll be the same for both teams.
Cameron T. Robinson, The Athletic.
Ryan, when you have a senior class that came back for this game and they're all as experienced as they are, do you have to talk to them about managing their expectations, their emotions, so they're not too high for this, or is that something that you trust that they know how to handle it?
I think, again, when you focus on the process and you focus around your team, and you're with your guys in the Woody, it certainly can avoid distractions this week, and I think that's what we need to do. To say that this team and those leaders and these seniors want to win this game, it'd be one of the biggest understatements of all time. So they don't need any extra motivation. What they have to do is do a great job of preparing themselves, their mind, their body, and soul to go play the game, and then trust their training. And that's really what it comes down to. All the work that's been done to get to this point, now you have to go back to trusting your training, because that's really how it works. You hear about the Navy SEAL saying you fall to the level of your training. All the work that's been done, you've seen us talk about our bricks and our foundation and all those things. It's all leading to this point right here. And so you can't just all of a sudden turn it on in a few days for one game. It doesn't work that way. The way we play is going to be because of how we've built our foundation up to this point. And everything in the entire program has been built to win this game. And so now we just have to trust that and go play with confidence, with great energy, with great passion, and playing for your brothers, and everybody just doing their job. Like, I think sometimes it's easy in a game like this to try to do something, extraordinary. The only thing that needs to be extraordinary is their effort. Everything else, they just need to do their job.
Bill Landis, Kings of the North.
Ryan, your guys' third down efficiency is down a little bit from what it's been historically here, but I think your fourth down efficiency is maybe the best it's been since you've been here. I guess, how do those two things marry up, and are you, I don't know, are you concerned at all about the third down efficiency, or is it okay given how good you guys have been before?
No, we want to be great on third down. I think third and fourth down are very similar. So at the end of the day, at the end of the game, we'll kind of put those together and go, combine those numbers and statistics. But yeah, we want to convert on third down, and conversion on third down is going to be critical in this game. We know the situations play a big part of this game, always has. So we need to be efficient on third down. And a big part of that is what you're doing on first down. If you get yourself into third medium, third manageable, short yardage, the percentages go much higher than when you're in third and long. And we were in a few of those the other day.
Stephen Means, Cleveland.com.
Whether it's what Chris did in 2018 or Garrett in 2019, what do you see in a freshman that lets you know that they're ready for a moment like that?
You don't know until they're in it. But again, you just go back to your training and what you see in practice every day. That's two examples of guys who, stepped up in this moment. And that's what's on the table in a game like this. So, again, guys who are playing this for the first time, you don't know till you've been in it, but ultimately you just need to do your job at a high level and play with great emotion and passion. And every play is just amplified. Every inch is amplified. Every yard is amplified. That's just the way it goes. But ultimately it's still football, and you just got to go play the same way you've played, and trust your training. That's what it comes down to. So, again, that goes back to diving into a great week of preparation, getting on the film, making sure you're prepared.
Matt Murphy, 24/7 Sports.
Brian, you've mentioned a few times in the past about the winner of this game generally being, or has been, the team that's run the ball better. How do you, with that in your mind, how do you go into the game approaching things offensively, wanting to run your offense, but also knowing that has been such a key in this rivalry?
Well, that's how you control the game on both sides of the ball. So that's something that has to be done. And you just look historically that's how you win the game. But that's not the only thing. There's a lot that comes with it. And so like every game we go into, we'll work hard to do what we think best helps us win the game. But yeah, the team who runs the ball and the team who stops the run is going to win the game.
Yeah, Ryan, I think there's a fascination in how coaches handle this week behind closed doors. Some people think you want to be loose and confident, portray that. Other people think you might want to ratchet up the intensity. What kind of image do you try to portray to your team during this week?
Well, I think when you live it year round, you know, you don't need to put any extra emphasis on it this week. Our guys know, especially with a veteran team. So what you do is everything that you've done leading up to this point has to be about winning this game. And so, you know, we put a big emphasis on the situations, you know, winning the situation. You heard me talk about the turnovers and the X plays and the rushing yards, third down, red zone. We go through that after every single game when we do our champions, grading out a champion, grading over 80%. Being the hardest playing team in the country, like all of those things come into play. So we've been training all year for this moment, and now we just need to go do it again. And that's the idea, so that you're not all of a sudden putting more emphasis or more pressure on the guys. I mean, they know it's at stake. And so again, focus on the process, focus on what we've done up to this point, the foundation that's been built, and then go play with our hair on fire.
Austin Ward, podcast.
Around 3 weeks ago, before Purdue, you'd said that special teams had not been a plus for you guys. What all have you changed to get the results you've had since then? And is kickoff return, is there still something left there?
Yeah, I think there is. You know, we'll take that on a week-to-week basis. I think the first thing is, you know, we did make some changes personnel-wise, which was great. But I also think we just kept cracking the rock. We just kept swinging at it, stayed with it. Guys believed in it, again, believed in the process, because there were some opportunities. It happens a lot on special teams. I'm sure you heard coaches talk about, well, 1 block away or 2 blocks away. And, you know, we weren't on you know, the last couple games. We were there, you know, and you know, you're playing the opponent that you're playing, but you're also putting on film for your next opponent what's going on. And so, you know, we have our best players on special teams. I think they're believing right now that they can make a difference. We're going to need to do that and be a plus in this game as well.
Thank you, Jerry. Ryan, have you sensed since maybe the last part of the fourth quarter against Nebraska a continual crescendo from this defense, and what do you attribute it to most of all?
Yeah, I don't know about that. I just think that, you know, we know what we need to do, and our guys, you know, are trying to win every single play. That's it, and trying to get better with every single play. And you know, I think the staff and the players are working together to put together a great plan for this one right here. And then we got to go put it on the field this week, figure out what fits, and then go get it. But I think that every week, we've talked about this before, you have to upgrade. You got to get better week after week and figure out, you know, what are the things that have, you know, gone well, get them better. What are the things that haven't gone well? And then obviously get those fixed. And I think that's just a process of during a season. And, you know, when something doesn't go well, you got to address it, and you got to have honest conversation and address those things. So even coming out of this past game, you know, there was a lot of things that we had to get fixed and addressed, and we'll continue to do that this week. But I do think our defense is playing with confidence, and they'll have to start right from the jump on these guys.
Pass rush especially has come on, it appears. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, we just look at the production and the numbers, but that doesn't mean anything for this game. Again, we've said this before, nothing that you've done in the past has anything to do with what's going on moving forward. You got to go do it this week and put it back on the field, because everything you've been doing up to this point should lead you to have confidence in what you're doing, but it doesn't necessarily mean you got to go do it. You got to go do it.
Ryan, you like to say this is a player's game.
Right.
You played the game, and then you transitioned to coaching. I'm just curious, when you're on that sideline, what's it like knowing that you can only take it up to a certain point, and then it's those guys on the field? Is that frustrating at times, tough, exhilarating? I mean, that's got to be a little tough thing to handle.
That's the difference between playing and coaching right there. Yeah. When you're playing, you know, as a coach, you try to control everything you possibly can. And that's why I think I've said to you before, I get more worked up right now during the week than I do later in the week, because I know this is the impact that us coaches can have, making sure we're putting the right guys in the right spots to be successful, making sure our best players are where they need to be, training during the week to make sure we're ready to go. And then as we get closer, you know, it's a player's game, and the player's got to play. But, you know, in this game right here, I'm going to be right there with them, swinging as hard as I can with them, you know, giving them confidence on the field. They're going to play with great passion in this game, and just making sure that we have answers for them during the game. And that's what coaching's all about, giving them answers and making sure they're in an environment to be successful. And then identifying the things that, you know, didn't go right and getting them fixed, but all in a process to get to right here, right now.
Jelani's had to play a lot, obviously, given injury. More consistency is always starting out with him, just about being more consistent. He got to a point now where you feel like he's 100% trustworthy to put on the field in any situation, even if, you know.
Yeah. We need Jelani to give us real snaps, and it was good to see him get that touchdown. That was big. He's made some big blocks for us this year. So you just, you never know in games like this when your number is going to get called in a big moment. And, we've seen that before in years past. So, no matter who it is, everyone's got to step up their game, and the tight ends will have a big part of this game as well.
Obviously, none of the games this season are of this magnitude, but do you feel like there's stuff from Oregon week, Penn State week that your guys can take just about the way they handle some of the bigger matchups, the matchups that are talked about different than others?
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing quite like this game or this stage, but it has been good for us to get tested this year, to work through some of those issues. We've gone down in games, we've lost the game, we've been through some adversity, in big games, early in the Penn State game, even last week. But I think all that, adds to the character and resilience of your team, knowing that no matter what comes at us on Saturday, we'll know how to react. But this one's different.
Adam King, WBNS.
When you look back on the last 3 years, we've heard a lot of guys say it's personal. How does that affect you? How much do you look at those games, and how does this team channel what's happened over the last 3 seasons?
Yeah, I think it's like I said, what's happened in the past has really nothing to do with what's going on right now. And I think the focus has to be on each other and playing so hard for the love of your teammate. Not so much what's going on across the field. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to focus on that this week because it's easy to get distracted with everything else. We'll let the fans and everybody else, kind of talk through all those things. Like, we're going to focus on each other, playing really hard for each other, focus on getting ready to go play in this game so that we can execute at a high level, because ultimately that's all that matters.
To be able to get that win on Saturday for the state.
Well, I think you know what it means. I mean, it means the world, and it's everything here.
Jeremy Birmingham, podcast.
Ryan, speaking of distractions, signing day is now next week, which is kind of insane with everything else going on. In an environment of recruiting where so many guys are making late decisions based on things that are not related to football.
Yeah.
Now, not having the additional 3 weeks of official visits in December, how does that impact what you guys are doing as far as replacing potential recruiting losses, and how does that change maybe what you do moving forward when it comes to in-season evaluation?
Yeah, I would say it's we say this all the time, but it's just changing so much, and this is probably as unstable as it's ever been in recruiting. I think it's fair to say that there's just so much going on. There's so many variables at place, and based on when signing day is right now, I mean, there's no good answer, and I get it. I understand why the decision was made to do it right now, but yeah, I mean, we're so focused right now on winning this game. Like, it's hard to think about anything else or take any time right now to do anything other than focus on the game. But that being said, you still have to recruit. You still have to make sure you're getting yourself ready for the recruiting class and for signing day. So, yeah, there's a lot that goes with it, and then you have the portal that's opening up. So there's going to be a lot of, decisions that have to be made on the recruiting side, also on our side on how we're going to put this roster together over the next month. So I feel really good about the class that's committed to us and where we're headed on signing day. I'm not necessarily sure if it's always going to look the same moving forward in terms of, remember, signing day was like, okay, the number 1, the number 2, the number 3 recruiting class in the country and all these different rankings and everything like that. Well, now with the portal, retention, when it comes to roster management, I just think that that's very different than it used to be. And we got to do what's best for Ohio State and making sure our roster is right for next year.
Before, but with this moving up the signing day to next week, do you think that that's the right time for it, or is there a preference for you as one of the, Ohio State's one of the biggest brands in football, so your opinion matters, but where do you think these should fall?
Well, I was part of those conversations in trying to move it up, as much as we possibly could. I think the conversation there from the high school, feedback from the high school coaches was that, maybe now players would start opting out because they signed early. But I know this, for us as coaches right now to be thinking about all these things is just, it's crazy. So we've got to come up with a solution so that it's not as chaotic right now this time of year.
You've endured real adversity in your life, especially when you were very young. So I was struck when I heard you say that losing the last 3 years to Michigan's been one of the hardest things you've endured. Why has it been that hard? Why do you put it at that level? And can you describe the pressure that you personally feel this week?
Yeah, I would say not to get into too much of it. It's just, this game is a war, and anytime there's a war, there's consequences and casualties, and then there's the plunder and the rewards that come with it. That's what it is, and I just think that that's really what it comes down to. And so, as we all say, and it happened in my press conference, the number one job is to win this game. And so, that's the focus right now. And I don't want to get too much into the past because we're just focused on right now. And we've worked really hard to get to this point. I think I'm excited with the fact that, our guys are here now, because, when you go through the off season and you talk about this game, it's just like, all right, well, how many times are we going to talk about this? We got to get to this game and go play it. We're finally here right now. So that'll be the focus. And then in the off season, we'll figure out what's what.
Excitement, how would you kind of describe your emotions?
I'm excited. I'm excited about this game. I'm excited about this team. I love the look in their eye. I love coming to work every day. But this is not about me. It's about these seniors who decided to come back. They want to have a pair of gold pants. They want to have hardware. So that's what motivates me. And I'm excited for them so they can go out there and play this thing and go win it.
Last question, Steve Hellwagon, 24/7 Sports.
Yeah, Coach, this last stretch, 3 of the games you were in the 170 range rushing, but Nebraska and Indiana, you guys failed to get to 100. In terms of rushing, we know what Michigan has been able to do against you guys, rush defense the last few years. Do you go into this with a strong sense that you're going to be able to establish the run, and will it maybe take some unorthodox thinking or different ways to attack that?
Well, I think we don't have a choice. We have to if we're going to win the game. So we'll always do what we think is best, but it comes down to everybody executing at a high level and physicality, and our running backs got to get downhill and find all those hidden yards. Our offensive line has got to get movement up front and handle their front. They have a good front. There's no question about that. But that's not going to change our attack. I mean, we got to do what we've done and trust our preparation and go get it. So yeah, I mean, the team who runs the ball is going to control the game.
Coach, thank you very much. Thanks, Ryan. All right, folks, just need everyone to reassemble on out in the indoor, please.